Good evening, Harlequin here, and welcome to another episode of HarlequinCasts, Company of Heroes. Today's game is going to bring us to the map Wrecked Train, and as you can see off to our left, this is not just a clever name, it does in fact include a wrecked train. This map was not actually featured in Company of Heroes Online, but Company of Heroes Online did have the map Rails and Metal, which is a 2 versus 2 map. Had a similar sort of feel, not at all related to it, but definitely had some train tracks and crazy stuff going on in the center there. I believe originally this map won a community map contest, which is how it ended up getting featured here. And as you can see, it's just got a nice little wasteland of train tracks and stuff throughout the center of it. So this is kind of a long game today. It is not uncommon to see Company of Heroes games that go on for like 45 minutes. But I thought I'd go ahead and start venturing into the longer game here. See what viewer attention span is like as we get into these games. So I'm going to go ahead, get this started, and we'll take a look around and introduce the players. So on the southern side of the map, controlling the allies for today, we have Mr. NuclearSensei, who is currently on the leaderboard at the 38,269th spot. I'm just kidding. That is actually his rank, but no, he is NuclearSensei. He's just starting a new account. He is a strategy specialist, I believe, or an expert over at Company of Heroes on the Game Replays, the Company of Heroes side of GameReplays.org. His opponent today is going to be Mr. MatthewHazelwood, who has a much higher ladder position, at 28,021. So both of these guys actually just kind of starting new accounts, but honestly, fairly interesting play going on throughout this game. Enough so to make me actually want to venture into casting a longer game. I know my Dawn of War 2 fans tend to have really short attention spans. Most games are like in the 20-minute range. But anyhow, this is actually a fairly interesting game. So we can see already NuclearSensei is going to be opening up with a barracks and a single rifleman squad. And I believe MatthewHazelwood here, again, opening up with the Wehrmacht quarters. And it looks like, yes, he has Volksgrenadiers coming out there. So I'm going to go ahead and swap on over to my favorite tactical map position. And let's take a look at this, this map a little bit here. You can see Nuke is going left and right, whereas it looks like Matthew's going more towards the center here. But it's important to look at just the kind of distribution of points here in this map. In particular, the fuel. So this map has a nice little line of symmetry running down through the center of it. Top and bottom are kind of mirrored that way. We have 5 low fuel points over here on the left. I'm sorry, we have 3 5 fuel points over here on the left. We have 1 medium fuel point for 10. And then we have 2 more 5 fuel points here. Everybody has a fuel point next to their base, in addition to a medium ammo. In general, this map has a ton of fuel on it. However, they're all kind of in interesting positions. Any player can basically get these two, the 2 closest to their base, and usually the one here on the left, they have to fight over this one here and this one here. But it does make for interesting games, so fuel consumption and fuel control is worth noticing as well. I'm going to take a look at the action, which happens to be right next to the camera right now. We can see that NuclearSensei's first rifleman squad is just kind of venturing out into this wrecked train kind of no man's land. You can see this point that he's traversing right now on the minimap is actually a gigantic chevron. It's like a huge V. And that actually cuts off the fuel point just next to it here and the victory point. So that's one key point on this map here, and you can see that NuclearSensei just kind of stalling out for the time being. Always a good tactic. Works in Dawn of War 2 as well. Just to hang out in a building whenever you're outnumbered, because it gives you great cover, and it just forces his units, it forces Matthew's units to sit around and exchange fire for a while. You can see that NuclearSensei has been pretty adventurous over here on the right with his engineers. He's just been kind of capping all around, making a point to grab the fuel points first before connecting them. He wants them that badly. The riflemen now are just kind of making their exit, and the interesting thing to note about the center of this map here is that even though it's fairly open, there is just all this cover here. It's bombed out and everything, but infantry in particular can kind of thrive in this environment. There's lots of, you can just see by my mouse cursor, lots of yellow cover and green cover just kind of everywhere you go. So it's really just kind of this little really close quarters fighting kind of area, despite the fact that it seems like it'd be a massively bombed out center. You can see again, here's another key victory point here on the bridge. It splits like a Y shape on the minimap, and you can see it cuts off this fuel point completely. So you need to control this point in order to get that right hand side medium fuel point. Let's take a look around now. NuclearSensei is undoubtedly going into the 4 rifleman opening. I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing another one out of him very soon here. Finally capping this this 1 point in front of his base as well, which is kind of interesting here. Let's take a look on over to Matthew now. Note that the colors on the minimap are going to change. I just like to remind people of that. And you can see right now that MatthewHazelwood, he has started off with double Volksgrenadiers and now moving into a machine gun team. That's a very standard 5 units to see out there, and he's now getting a 3rd Volksgrenadier squad as well. Pretty good opening. We could have seen a sniper or something like that perhaps. But the heavy machine gun team, definitely going to be useful against lots of riflemen. But it looks like he's not even going to bother deploying them here. He can tell that NuclearSensei has retreated. Instead, he's going to grab that victory point and start capping the stuff on the right. Looks like he's doing an entire shift here, moving his army back towards the center. Unfortunately, his army is a little blobbed up here. And doubly, unfortunately, that his third Volksgrenadier squad is coming to the same position as well. He really needs to designate some units to head on over the right-hand side of the map. As you can see, NuclearSensei's engineers are taking control over the situation over there. MG42, though, being nicely positioned here. We can see this road that leads up. It's a nice little choke point here because of the fences and all that. I'm sure all those will get knocked down late game, but it is important to note that there are these kind of natural choke points coming out of everybody's bases based on just kind of the roads and the lay of the land here. Not so bad on the northern position. So moving more towards the center, we can see again NuclearSensei having to be very careful with his riflemen. Again, riflemen tend to get pinned extremely easily by these MG42s, which force them just to have to retreat away. Good central positioning on this MG42. He doesn't quite know which way to face yet. Again, there's one natural path coming up here, one natural path coming up here. Got to guard all that stuff. And also there's the long way around. As you can see, this road coming out of NuclearSensei's base forks right here, giving him a path all the way up here to the victory point in the fuel. So for the time being, it looks like Matthew's got pretty strong central control. But the good thing about having 4 riflemen early game is that when you do send them out to grab these random, passive-aggressive kind of battle positions out here, they do a fairly good job versus just pioneers. We can see right away that NuclearSensei has gone for his Browning automatic rifles first, meaning he spent his first 60 munitions upgrading his infantry. That means he's going to have later supply depot and all that sort of stuff. And as a result, it means he's not going to have as fast Greyhounds or anti-tank guns or anything like that. So we'll have to see if MatthewHazelwood's going to pick up on that signal or not. But for the time being, just continued fighting in the middle here. Now, this is the kind of stuff I love seeing out of NuclearSensei. Notice how he's advancing 3 separate groups of units across the battlefield right now. He's really, whenever you see a player doing this, get a big red flag in your head that there's some sort of something afoot here. You can see just the spread of the units right now. I'm really looking forward to this attack right now. You can see this first wave here was driven off, of course, but it provided just enough cover right now for the flamethrower engineers to move in, setting fire to some gentlemen and getting some nice point-blank shots. It looks like, however, the tight clustering here of Matthew's units here is prevailing, despite taking a little bit of casualties. The final flank here having to retreat, but oh no! Looks like NuclearSensei suckered him into that mine that his engineers laid very early on. But unfortunately, now that MG42 is repositioning, and it looks like, yeah, I'm pretty sure NuclearSensei is going to have to get out of there for the time being. And we do have For the Fatherland being activated. That is a defensive doctrine buff right there that's going to give his troops extra bonuses when they're in friendly territory right now. So NuclearSensei definitely trying to be clever and thinking multi-directionally, trying to get around his opponent there. But his opponent just kind of turtled up, coiled into a little ball there, and pointed an MG42 at him, which is never a bad idea as a German player, especially as a defensive player. So looking around here, meantime, on the far right, these riflemen that were off capping that fuel point have managed to take control over this key victory point, this key area that gives control over the victory point and of the fuel, and are just going to continue pressing. Remember, your ABCs of Company of Heroes are always be capping. Just always cap stuff. If ever you see stuff that isn't defended, capture it. And capture more than you need to force your opponent to recapture. So you can see the result of that middle skirmish was the fact that Matthew now is gaining control over the left-hand side of the map, including the fuel and this key area here. And he's going for a centralized bunker. So we have already seen that he has defensive doctrine out there. He does not have base defenses up yet. But basically what that's going to allow him to do is eventually when he spends points in it, he's going to be able to reinforce from this forward bunker. This is almost certainly going to be set up as a medical bunker. Meaning it's going to be able to pick up his wounded troops and eventually form new grenadier squads out of it. And yes, you can see he's already instantly upgrading that to a medic bunker, and pretty soon we're going to see that he's going to be able to reinforce troops from that. So this, for probably most of the game, unless NuclearSensei can do anything about it, is going to be the center of operations. You can see he's even setting up his MG42 in there for the time being, garrisoning it with his own machine gun. So NuclearSensei definitely has a challenge here. Doing this with 4 infantry is going to be tricky. Obviously, it's much easier to kind of root out a defensive player when you have your own mortar teams or machine guns or snipers or something special like that. Doing it with just infantry, though, is going to take some finessing. You can see he's just basically declining to have a little bit of a skirmish right there, backing away from that munitions point. But he does have nice multi-directional fields of fire. Remember, green cover is directional. If you're shooting, you know, in a direction that you naturally think they wouldn't benefit from cover, they don't benefit from cover. So getting a little bit of that side flank off there, you can see the, and attacking from multiple directions at once. Look at all of the units here moving around the battlefield right now. You can see that NuclearSensei constantly testing the defenses of his opponent. Unfortunately, double MG42s, and it looks like Matthew had the presence of mind to set up this MG42 facing off to the left there. Looks like the flamethrower engineers, however, though, are possibly going to be able to outmaneuver this machine gun team, but it looks like we're still charging in here right now. And no, the flamethrowers are never going to get that flank off. Looks like the riflemen having to retreat. However, still massive casualties going on right now. NuclearSensei focusing a lot of Browning automatic rifle fire on all of these gentlemen. They're taking a lot of damage, even a little bit of suppressing fire, I believe, from the Browning automatic rifles. No, it looks like taking yet more casualties up north. And as you can see, it looks like Matthew is huddling around this bunker. He is defending. He is reinforcing his troops. They're getting healed, and their troops are getting picked up right there. Grenadier squad was formed from that as well, and you can see we have Grenadiers on the field right now. It looks like they just went ahead and picked up that machine gun too. So anyhow, that was a terrific defense right there by MatthewHazelwood, and unfortunately, that puts NuclearSensei in a rather difficult position here, because it's hard to lose the initiative against such a strong centrally located opponent. We can see that it looks like we've got a fast armored car coming out here right now. This is a real problem for NuclearSensei. As I said, getting the Browning automatic rifles was going to be a real tell that he's going to be slow to getting up his motor pool. And as you can see, motor pool is not quite finished yet, and we have a Puma, and it looks like Matthew is just going to go crazy with this Puma. He is sending it right into NuclearSensei's base right now and just challenging him. Unfortunately, there's nothing that NuclearSensei can do. Give me a moment. I want to swap over to Nuke's point of view. Mind you that everything is going to, the colors on the map are going to change. And as you can see, he is currently right now researching sticky bombs. Sticky bombs is the only possible answer he has right now. The Pumas, however, do not have the benefit of armored skirts or anything like that. So all of this fire from the Browning automatic rifles and from the machine gun emplacements eventually will start to wear down. But this armored car is just going to be able to sit here and wreck these guys. Armored cars are beautiful against infantry. You can see right now just constantly inflicting casualties. NuclearSensei actually just kind of spread out his troops. He got some of them out of the base right away. But however, knowing that he can't do anything about that right now, notice his micro. He's going to go ahead and challenge this bunker right now. The flamethrower engineers just wrecking this bunker. This is exactly what you want to see. Flamethrowers do terrific damage to people in heavy cover like that. Right now, it looks like the armored car is actually starting to get a little bit worried that it's taking too much damage and backing away for the time being.